I suppose for many of them it'll be great news because they'll have passed, and some will even have university passes. And I can't overemphasize enough that everybody has a plan B or a plan A no matter what they get tomorrow.
Yeah. Thanks, Peter, for the opportunity to have what is a very, very important conversation. I think that it is critical that as students receive their results tomorrow, that they're aware of kind of some of the things that might be going on within themselves, and also how others might be responding to the results as well.
All right, so tell us some of the things that they ought to kind of internalize and think about.
Okay, well, just to give a little bit of context, I've been working in higher education now for around 18 years. So I've seen hundreds of students start on a transformative learning journey that we call higher education. And I guess as I've seen these students, and there's been many of them, and there still are many of them, come into higher education, I think that there's generally 4 groups of people, or 4 groups of students, and I thought it might be a little bit helpful just to kind of paint a brief synopsis of each of these 4 categories of students and how they've made their decisions. Right. And that might give the listeners and the watchers something to think about.
Okay, let's go through them.
Okay, so I mean, if I was to think about these 4 groups of students, the first group of students are the students who come into university straight out of school. They did exceptionally well in their National Senior Certificate, and they have known exactly what their plan is, and they've come to a private higher educational institution like the South African College of Applied Psychology, or SACAP, or another university, knowing exactly what they want to study. So that's kind of the first group. And for matriculants out there, some of you will fall into that category of students. The second group are students who have come straight out of school, whose marks are actually poor. And you get your National Senior Certificate tomorrow, and you are saddened or upset by the fact that it doesn't say that you have admission into a degree. Yeah. And I think it's really important for me to just emphasize that for this group of students, coming into university is not just about necessarily coming into a degree, and there are other options. For example, coming into a higher certificate program, which is a 1-year post-school certificate, or into a diploma program, and then ultimately transitioning into a degree program. So what these kind of programs offer is an opportunity for young people who are literally 18 to mature and slowly be immersed into higher education. So at SACAP, where I work, we offer a higher certificate in counselling and communication skills, and we just see how amazing it is for students to spend a year just maturing and growing in their confidence and their belief in themselves that they can actually do something in higher education.
Okay. And then group 3?
And actually many of these students end up being very, very successful. Yeah. So that's the second category.
All right, the
third category are those who wait a few years before they start studying. These students take time to travel. They think about their skills, their values, their passions, and their talents before making a decision about what to study. And I must put up my hand here and say I was one of these students. And I can tell you with confidence that these years where I turned societal norms upside down and just decided to go out there and explore the world with curiosity, with intrigue, these years were invaluable for me as a person in building my own confidence in myself, but also really just helping me to think about what I want for my life. We're not ready at 18 necessarily to decide what we want for our lives.
So you recommend a gap year?
I am an advocate. For those who are unsure, I think what's important is that you shouldn't think of yourself as somehow falling behind the curve at a career trajectory level or at a studying level. And my own experience was actually that these years gave me an advantage because I had the advantage of self-discovery before I made a decision about what I wanted to study, and this really shaped me as a person.
All right, group four.
The fourth category are those who go to study and realize after one semester or 2 semesters they have made the wrong decision. And I love these students, and I love seeing them come into a new program with a positive attitude, with a willingness to accept that we do make wrong decisions in life. And these wrong decisions often give us the perfect opportunity to correct the decision and to really move forward with confidence into something totally different. For example, we have a couple of students who started studying accounting and then ended up coming and studying at SABC and studying psychology and human resource management as an example. So these 4 groups give you a sense that there is not one way of doing things. There's not one right way, and that there's many different ways of going about making career decisions
Where can young people go and get advice about what to do, and perhaps even help choosing subjects to study maybe?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously if you fall into this category of students, I think what's really important is to know that you're at a moment in your life that feels daunting, but that is actually a catalyst for you making a decision that's going to impact on your future. And there's lots of different places you can go for help. For example, you can employ the services of a psychologist or a registered counselor. You can do some personality testing with psychologists. You can do some psychometric assessments, and you can really get a sense of who you are as a person in the world beyond school, because career decisions are really about aligning passion and personality with profession or vocation. And I think it's really important to spend time speaking to people who know you, people who you respect, or looking for more professional help. Or, for example, if you're wanting to study something like psychology or human resource management or business management or coaching, then I would even just encourage you to visit our website at www.sacap.edu.za, or just to email admissions@sacap.edu.za. And we have lots of very keen admissions officers who would love to talk to you about kind of some of your thinking in the psychology space or business management space, or the social science space more broadly.
But perhaps a final word, because I think parents have a huge amount of influence, and I just wonder what your advice to parents would be at this time.
Okay, so being a parent, I did think quite carefully about how to answer this question. I think tomorrow when your child receives their National Senior Certificate, that no matter what it says, that you should read it with them and then take a big, long breath and remember that life is a playground that is beautifully illuminated. The sun is shining on it. And life is an adventure that beckons you to really take a hold of it, no matter what your marks, no matter what that senior certificate says. Be sure that life is an adventure awaiting you, and really embrace that adventure. Be open to different possibilities, to different ways of doing things. It might look different than you initially thought, but I would say to parents out there, congratulate your kids and encourage them to furiously show up and live their one and only life with passion.
Dr. Laura, I'm going to rent you out as a mom tomorrow. That's fantastic. Thanks so much indeed for that. And I think it's such an important thing because a lot of kids at this stage, they think that this is the be-all and end-all of life, actually. And in a few years' time, they're going to look back and realize, actually, it was just another step. So thanks so much indeed for that. And that's a great place to end this conversation.